You're listening to Everything B9 on the Everything BCFC network.
Hello Blue Daisies, my name is James Kelly and welcome to the Everything B9 Podcast, which is part of the Everything BCFC network. This podcast is for the fans, by the fans, where we dive deep into all things Birmingham City. Whether it's a matchday bars, tactical breakdowns or exclusive interviews, we've got you covered. So let's get started. Now, it has been a while, but we're back and it's just the two of us. Why not? Let's talk Blues. Blues are very... there's positivity around Blues at the moment, isn't it? Tom, welcome back to the pod. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Good to be here. Looking forward to catch up. There's a lot to divulge into, but I'll try not to bore everybody for too long.
Exactly, we'll keep this short and snappy, and it should be as well because it's everything positive, of course, at the club. So let's have a little bit of a phrasing of what has happened since we last uploaded. So Blues have won all 5 of their league matches. Could you believe that? We've broken a few records as well, more notably winning 6 consecutive league games since 1985. Hey. And then being unbeaten in starting 7 games for the first time in 33 years. We're now top of the table with a game in hand, and we left you just before the Leyton Orient fixture, remember? And just to give you an idea of what that was, Jay Stansfield didn't even sign for the club. And we all know what happens in that window. Oh my God, we'll talk about that, don't get me wrong. He was also yet to still score against us in the Carabao Cup. We remember that one as well. It was that long ago. But let's remind viewers of also just a little insight into what our good friend Gab Sutton said about Jay Stansfield. Last season, Jay Stansfield should return to the club. Do you reckon it could happen?
No.
No, straight away.
I think he'll want to play in the Championship.
So Tom Oxland, Birmingham City, undefeated, top of the table. I mean, it can't get any better, really.
No, literally cannot get any better. I mean, granted, yes, everyone in the division will say that we're expected to do this with the amount of money we've spent. But at the end of the day, I think we could have spent 50, 60 million, maybe even 70. Go beyond that, and Blues fans still wouldn't have believed that we'd walk the league. We joke about it, but we still wouldn't believe that it was an actual possibility and we'd actually seriously do it, because we still are deep down ingrained in that mentality of it'll just be typical Blues. Blues will mess this up. And that was a great example on this gone Saturday. Where I can't lie to you, I was tearing my hair out when we were 2-0 down. I thought, yep, here we go, back down to reality. Cheers, Blues. And then, yeah, they just pull it out the bag. But we'll divulge shortly, I'm sure.
Yeah, I just can't believe it. Like, no pun intended, undefeated on the sponsor, this time actually working compared to the whole of the EFL, completely taking the piss out of our cover Twitter, which, to be fair to Blues, they had the bio the whole season, so fair enough. But yeah, it actually is happening this season at the moment. So we'll see if that changes, and hopefully it doesn't, and we'll keep winning. But more importantly, we're now seeing an identity develop. So obviously, a lot of Oxfordshire fans are saying we're in for a shock. Trying to play out fancy, playing out from the back, and all of that stuff. A lot of fans probably criticise with that, but I think Chris Davies has his philosophy now, doesn't it? It's attacking football. It's going to be that way. It is going to be passing out from the back. It's exciting as well, isn't it? Like, normally you watch Premier League or even the Championship for that high-end attacking football build-up, but we're getting that in League One, and we're getting that down at Birmingham City as well. As a Birmingham City fan that's probably seen the last 10 years of long ball, that's quite interesting to see.
Indeed. It's it makes a nice change. The football's brilliant. We're constantly growing into games. Like, we've had a few rough starts now, and we've gone behind in 3 games and managed to pull something back out of it. So we've definitely got the wherewithal and the fighting mentality to be a champion, and Blues have never ever had that certainly in times I can physically remember with my brain without being like a toddler. So yeah, it's a real nice change, and good time to be a Blues fan. And Darren Ferguson actually pointed it out the posh manager saying that Blues getting relegated is the best thing to happen to Birmingham City Football Club, because now we've gone down where you've got a lot more freedom to spend and build, and that is what we are doing. People are going, why are you spending that much money in League One? It's because of, you look at the Championship this season, not many teams have spent a great deal of money because you physically can't. Like you are that, you know, tied together by PNS and FFP that the league doesn't allow you to spend that much. Whereas League One and League Two, it's strict, but not as strict, or nowhere near as strict, in all honesty. But we are still spending within our means. We generate the revenue and then we spend it. You know, running a football club properly, not something I've said about Blues ever. So, yeah, it's very exciting, and we're just getting what I feel we deserve, in all honesty. And a lot of people are going to hate me saying that, and especially rival fans. It'll probably get under their skin, boil their blood. But you know what? I couldn't give a fuck. So, fuck you and your Tin Pot Club, and we won't see you ever again after this season. You might have to bleep that out, but do you know what? I mean it. I mean it.
It's the passion. It's the passion this badge gives. You know what I mean?
Indeed.
But also, just look at Delta, for example. Like Delta, a major airline, then being associated with that, then brings income in. And I think a lot of fans are very. I've seen it on X, and I've seen it on other social media platforms as well. A lot of other fans are very critical of, okay, you're blowing the money on Jay Stansfield, or okay, you're blowing the money on this squad, and you're spending so much A, B, and C for the league, and you're spending Premier League money, etc. You should win the league. Okay, yeah, fair enough. Then maybe that comes into it. If we still get promoted, who cares? Like, we still get the objective of what the club's all about, is that you spend to try go up. And I think you basically hit the nail on the head as well, is it may change. I think what Blues have done now might think the EFL, oh God, okay, if there's going to be a team that is gets a financial takeover, because that's basically what it is. It's basically a financial takeover on like FIFA or Football Manager, basically. But if we get that financial takeover, which is what we've had, the league board will probably think, okay, maybe there is some, because what we're doing is we're not doing anything. We're not bending the rules. There is no rules in place. So what we're doing is absolutely fine. Like, we're bringing the investment in through sponsorships and then our own money that's coming into the club as well.
The thing is, if Blues didn't do it this year, somebody else would do it. So
exactly,
you got to strike while the iron's hot. You see the loophole, you take advantage of it, use it while it's there, because it probably won't be there for long, knowing the EFL. And we've seen that quite clearly. So it's good to start building now and just chuck money at things, because I don't feel like the gap between the Premier League and the Championship has ever been as big as it is now.
No, it's a golf.
Like, the golfing quality is ridiculous. I mean, you look at the clubs in the Championship right now that are pushing for the top spot. For me, it's the most open that league has ever been. And there's been some open seasons recently, but there is no particular team you look at there that you go, oh yeah, do you know what? They'll walk the league, or they'll defo go up. You might say that about Burnley, but you know, I know a lot of people who are big football fans that don't rate Scott Parker, including me. And not that I don't think he's a good manager. I just think he's been handed a lot of good hands in his life. So, yeah, if Baggies were to go and win the league, I have no doubt they'd finish bottom in the Premier League and come straight back down, because that squad is nowhere near good enough. And that's why you have to build the way you are now. And you look at what Ipswich have done. It's worked for them. They spent a lot more money in League One than they did in the Championship. And now, since they've gone to the Premier League, they've splashed that next level of cash. And it's just what you got to do. The Championship is so restraining now that, unfortunately, I think the EFL are responsible for the golfing quality between the Premier League and the Championship, and that's why they generate so many yo-yo clubs like your Burnleys and your Norwiches and people like a Watford previously gone by, Bournemouth, Sheffield United, teams like that. That is what happens, and the EFL only have themselves to blame. And as fun as the Championship can be, it does get slightly boring at times.
Yeah, no, totally. They hit the nail on the head there. And I think also people forget that Ipswich did use that takeover of money. First season, it didn't work. And then they went the second season, and then they won. They got back to back. So I get that. I get there is from the opposition fans of saying don't blow all your cash at once because it doesn't work. Well, if you've got the right manager, the right tactics, the right players, it's literally putting jigsaws together, and the jigsaws is working at the moment. And I think that also shows the fight that the club have as well. So that is in that side. So we've lacked that for a lot of seasons actually, but it showed more recently in most recent games. So the Marriott goal straight away against Wrexham, and then also literally just like you've said, Brace, at the start of the pod, the 2-0 being 2-0 down against the Posh as well, Peterborough, who actually I have to say, again, it's a 50-50 argument for this, whether you got to give credit to the Posh, which I do, whereas other Blues fans go, you know what, we were shite. We were really shite for the first 15, 20 minutes. So we kind of gave them the 2-0 goal highlight. But if you think about it as the rest of the league, and you're looking at it as a Posh perspective, they did a pretty good job getting 2-0 against the top of the table or going up near the top of the table. And St Andrews, we're trying to make it a fortress, and it's a tough place to come. So fair play to the Posh. But what was your thoughts on more when the Wrexham Marriott goal happened? Were Wrexham another team that you thought, okay, when they get one, are they going to go on and win it? And that was that same with Peterborough as well, because Peterborough, as Sky basically hit the nail on the head in commentary, they said they are juggernauts of League One. Like they're known for League One. They are unfortunately one that is the yo-yo between the Championship and League One. So, but yeah, what are your kind of thoughts on both games?
I think Wrexham, when we went 1-0 down, I thought, okay, yeah, here we go, reality check. This is going to be painful. I really can't be asked because, of course, it's a full house and we're live on Sky. But that was when we really saw true fight back from Blues. Because, yes, we'd seen it at Wickham, and obviously we got a point from the Reading game, but we hadn't really seen a proper fight back and in style. Like, it wasn't just a fight back and we scraped it. It was an obliteration. It was a footballing lesson. Like, those Wrexham players walked off the pitch completely defeated because they just literally been completely outplayed. It really was just like sending a team to the slaughter after they scored, in all honesty.
George Slate the Dragon. Do you get it? Yeah. England, Wales, that's exactly what happened.
It's exactly what happened. And I kind of felt bad for Wrexham. It got that tough towards the end. But it was a really enjoyable game. Had a lot of nibble in it. And, proper physical, but Blues still played a really...
I also wonder from that Wrexham game, how many bloody camera cuts there were to the VIP area of who was there for both Wrexham and Blues.
You've got to enjoy the Hollywood fame while it's there, and Blues will have lapped that up, and I'm sure we've made our fair share of profits on that game alone this season, and it's only benefiting League One because it brings eyes to the league, and it's a league that I think needs it. So no, I'm really impressed with the Wrexham performance, and then Peterborough again, even tougher test. And Chris Davis was so right in saying he felt that was going to be our toughest test yet this season. Because like you said, Peterborough are League One regulars. They're always up there. They're always in that playoff picture. And they score a hell of a lot of goals.
They do, yeah.
They've never been able to defend, but they can always score. And they showed that. And obviously you can pick it apart and go, well, that first goal never really should have happened. A lot of other goalkeepers wouldn't have let that happen. And Peacock Farrell's made a numerous amount of mistakes now that I'm sure we'll touch upon. But, doesn't often happen, that kind of goal. So tough one to concede, but you move on. And then the second goal, he's offside in the build-up before it goes for a corner. So realistically, it shouldn't have really been a corner anyway. But you move on. It's a corner. Terrible marking from a set piece. Totally free header, but it's a great header as well. The height he jumps.
He jumps, yeah.
It's impressive. But then, you think it's all doom and gloom and typical Blues and reality check. And then, as we have done so many times this season where we've just been poor the first 15, we just grew into the game, dominated the ball. And on top of that, the fans are just sucking the ball in the net. Like it was coming, and obviously we get the goal back. Probably could have had three before half time. In all honesty, Lyndon Dykes had a header he probably should have done better with. And there were a few other chances on top of that, but no, all in all, great fight back. We get a bit lucky with the equaliser, but we deserved that luck because you could say Peterborough have been lucky with both their goals, really. Granted, that's not for the lack of hard work. And then, yeah, your third goal, again, we get a bit of luck. That happens in the Premier League, probably gets ruled out. But do you know what? I don't care. I really, really don't care because we've not had that kind of luck for a long time. And it's about time we did. And it makes me think back to when we played Hull last season, and I can't remember what the player's name was. I think it was a Turkish fella, and he literally just fully volleyball slaps the ball out the net, and it's the most blatant handball you've ever seen.
Yeah.
And it still doesn't go in Blues' favour.
Or the one that goes over the line that should have gone out for a corner. Yeah, all of that. It's always bloody Hull, isn't it?
I have no shame. I have no shame in us having that kind of luck. And even better, Derby had some terrible decisions go against them like an hour before that, which made the matchday experience even better. I'd be lying to you if I wasn't sat there chuckling on my pint. But there we are. Though that's my review of those games. Brilliant Blues. Love to see it. Long may it continue.
Absolutely, yeah. I think also the build up to all the goals, like we're going to talk about this probably a lot this season, is the attacking build up and how it fluctuates from the back to the front. But someone that has really actually shone, I think, it's slightly underrated shot as well, because there are a lot of players that you could talk about that's really good. Is your mate Four? Because I mean, the build up to that goal of where he's just in his right area. I mean, he must be an absolute defender's nightmare to mark. But then to have him tackling Merchant, who cares? He gets goals, but he's the right place, right time for that one.
Oh, 100%. Great goal. And you just got to give full credit, I think, for that header in particular, from the Peterborough player. It was, I think his name was something Fernandez.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it was his second ever league goal. So clearly still very young and new to the game. But Peterborough, I don't even think they defended that badly. I genuinely don't. I thought they were quite solid for a lot of the game, despite most of their fans saying that they were going to get obliterated and that they can't defend for the life of them. They weren't that bad. Granted, much better going forward. But no, in the end, it was just the sheer force and quality that got Blues over the line. So you can't deny that. And Peterborough didn't have, that's probably their biggest downfall, was despite them being great goal scorers, they didn't have any star power. No main man. Previous years they've had a Johnson Clark-Harris or a
yeah.
Sariki Dembele, or even what was his name? Was it Marcus Maddison?
Yeah.
Who I think Blues were linked with about 1,000 times, and thank God
his
that
career's
never
flopped.
happened,
Yeah.
because he was quite an impressive flop in the end. But some real talent over the years, and they just, maybe they could claim and say Ricky J. Jones is the next big thing, but I can't lie to you. The only talent I thought he possessed was the shithousery celebration. As for his actual demeanour and play, I didn't think he was that great a footballer. Credit to his work rate for the first goal, but everything else, well done. You're a pace merchant. You couldn't finish your dinner other than that press. So fair play. Maybe I'm just being bitter because literally celebrated right in front of me and it really got under my skin. But yeah, do you know what? Fair play. I'll start being bitter and just giving credit where it's clearly due.
Someone that also was pretty mad about it, not necessarily the celebration, but the game, was obviously Chris Davis at half time, because he literally sprinted down the tunnel. Like it was like Diego Simeone ran like to the tunnel. He was obviously slightly frustrated of what he saw in the first half, but I think that shows the passion of the man, that he's so switched on, and he's like, right, okay, this is what we need to change, and this is what we're going to do. And then out we came then second half, and the attacking intensity was completely different. It was almost like a switch just went off.
Oh, 100%. And that's the kind of manager you want in the dugout, especially when you're trying to win the league. You want perfection. and I just think he oozes perfection, oozes class, and it's exciting. Maybe people see Chris Davis as having an easy job because of the money that's been spent, and he should. Well, yeah, maybe he should win the league with this team.
You've still got to make it gel,
But
though, haven't you?
you've still got to make it gel.
Yeah.
You've still got to not just change a playing style, but change an entire ethos of a football club. Like, the Blues have not played this way in 12, 13, maybe 14 years. And even then, we never played like this. Ever, ever, ever. We've played decent football before, and that's about as far as you can stretch it. But yeah, credit to him because he's done it so well, and it just looks natural now, second nature. And I watched a really impressive breakdown on YouTube the other day. I think it's about 23 minutes long, and these three young lads, I can't remember.
Oh yeah,
the
Tom H.
channel.
Williams. That's their
Yeah,
breakdown.
that
Very
one,
good.
that
Very
one.
good. Very good, guys.
Very, very impressive. Genuinely enjoyable, and I totally agree with probably the one and only concerning point is the goalkeeping situation. And Bailey Peacock Farrell is a more than capable goalkeeper at this level. Like, he was very highly rated not that long ago, and should be performing, but just seems to be eaten up by the pressure of us having to be the best. And it's becoming a problem now where we've had three major errors that have led to goals. And one of these days we're not going to get away with it.
No.
And I think that needs to be addressed, especially when Ryan Alsop has been in goal and he's been called upon in cup competitions. He has performed.
Yeah.
And I think it'd only be fair for Allsop to have a go tomorrow night here between the sticks. And it might just be the break that Peacock Farrell needs. Some people might see it as, a confidence destroyer, but I don't. I really don't. I remember the days that Darren Randolph was utterly terrible for Birmingham City. And you look at the career he went to have as probably arguably one of the better championship keepers over the last decade. So, still plenty of time to get out of this phase. But I think right now you just gotta stop the rot. Just stop the rot and get somebody else in there. And when the time's right, maybe make a change. Allsop is a lot older, hasn't got as much time left as a Peacock Farrell. Peacock Farrell's still very young for a keeper. Despite not really being that old, not really being that young, but he's still got a lot of years for a goalkeeper. So you might as well use the quality that Allsop's still got, bearing in mind probably one of the better goalkeepers in the Championship last season, and then develop Peacock Farrell, give him more time to get used to being on the ball, because he clearly has shown that he needs it. Whereas Ryan Allsop's probably his biggest attribute and praise from Hull last season was his ability with the ball at his feet.
Yeah.
And I
That's
just
how
think,
Blues are playing, isn't it?
I think that's what we need right now, and just a calmer head, more experienced shoulders, and somebody who knows the club because he's a fan. Get him in the sticks. Get Ryan Allsop in for Huddersfield.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it should be a change for tomorrow. I think Huddersfield, you need to give Allsop a shot. He's a great shot stopper and good with his feet, which, to be fair to Peacock Farrell, what he's dependent on, he's a good shot stopper, I'll give you that. But like you said, he's got a mistake in him, and he's got more than a one mistake in him, and that causes problems. And I think when you review things as well, with the nature of attacking football, of not just Chris Davies of Birmingham City, but just in how football the modern day is going forward, the goalkeeper is almost becoming another player to influence the game. And that involves a lot of the time them having the ball at their feet rather than just kicking it long as what we're historically used to. So I think, in fairness to him, his game isn't as good because he's just not moving in with that modern day time. But we actually did a poll as well for all our fans on EverythingBCFC and all our social medias, and the actual results quite alarming, and I think it echoes both of our opinions. So 21% of Blue Nose fans thinks Bailey Peacock Farrell should start and should continue to start. 79% think Ryan Alsop should have an opportunity. So I think that says it all between the Blues fan base, is that we should give Ryan Alsop an opportunity. And like you said, he's been very good at the cup competitions as well. And I think he's probably the stronger goalkeeper out of the two as well, personally.
Right now, definitely, yeah.
Yeah, we had 472 votes as well. So excellent, guys. Really do appreciate all the interaction with that. Please do keep it up. But actually, just to kind of throw a curveball into it, with all the money that's being spent, are we surprised Blues actually went with those two goalkeepers? Were there better goalkeepers out there we could have paid big money for?
I'd say there were better goalkeepers out there, but I still think on paper, you're signing Bailey Peacock, Farrell and Ryan Alsop. It's
For League One,
like
yeah.
a caliber
yeah.
for League One.
Yeah.
On paper. So, no, I didn't really think to be fair, Darren Randolph's still a free agent. You know, I'd have probably taken him at 38 for a League One season.
Get him in.
Yeah, why not? But yeah, no, I think they were two very good additions, and for me, Alsop was in better form as well, which made all the more surprising that we chose to go with Peacock Farrell as the starter. But then again, maybe you could say Peacock Farrell's played at a higher level in recent years and is still playing at international level somehow. But yeah, I just feel Alsop is the obvious choice going into Tuesday, and it's not really a tough debate. But I still think Peacock Farrell has a big future ahead of him at Blues, in all honesty. Still plenty of time to go, plenty of minutes to play, and yeah, plenty of highs and lows to go still.
Do you reckon it will change it though?
No.
Not either.
I think it'd take one more howler.
Yeah.
One more howler and Alsop gets his chance. Granted, you'd like to think 3 was enough. But I think Chris Davis, stands by all of his players. But also hasn't been afraid to make big calls, as we've seen, with the likes of Lyndon Dykes taking Alfie May's spot, which still doesn't sit right with me at the moment. I can't lie to you. Granted, I won't complain, worked against Rotherham, did not work on Saturday.
No.
Did not work at all on Saturday. But I tell you who does need a shout out. He was incredible when he came on, and that was Scott Wright. He was so good. I literally, even better than his Wigan performance where he scored, but the surging runs, oh my God, they were ridiculous. The raw pace, the quick 2-touch give and go passing, I was mesmerised. And I've seen him start a game for Blues, and it was not. He played nothing like that. But to see that real quality come out of him coming off the bench, I think that says what his role will probably be or entail for the rest of this season. I think there's a real battle right now for those winger spaces, because obviously we're rotating the 3 strikers we currently have. Well, technically we've got 4 with Duke, but Duke's going to struggle to get into this team full stop unless we're playing in the old Bristol Street Motors trophy.
Yeah, give it a chance.
But yeah, you have one of them as the striker behind the striker, bit like a shadow striker, if you will, if you want to go like fucking FIFA or Football Manager terms. Not really a number 10, more of a centre forward. But yeah, you've got those 2 positions, and then you've got the 2 wide players, and obviously he seems quite happy with Williamson on the right at the moment, which
he does, yeah.
I can't complain. Despite not quite having the pace, I think just his ability on the ball and his strength. And
the crosses as well. He's very good at crossing.
His general delivery is just that impressive, and he gets in the right positions at the right time. So right now, you don't really have a bad word to say about him. There may come a game where we need more pace, and that's where you can call upon a Keshi Anderson or a Yokoyama. But I am actually starting to think Yokoyama is going to struggle to get into this side now, because for me, Wright and Anderson are ahead of him. And granted, we've seen some really tasty glimpses of Yokoyama. I can't see him getting in.
He was my boy come Wickham as well. You know how passionate I was about him.
I know. That Warsaw performance really put a dampener on the signing. Granted, only one game, but that start was just so bad.
But that's also how critical Davis is of his squad, in terms of you need to be at the level consistently to gain the points. And if you do have one game, then you could be dropped, and that might be it. So, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But there is one person that will not be dropped, and there's one person that has actually signed for the club, and we could not believe it. Stano is back. 50 million down the drain. You can finish the rest, Tom.
Joe Stansfield scores again.
Exactly. And he was robbed of his fourth league goal as well, a deflection as well off Oscar Wallin in the Peterborough game. But I mean, he's just everything.
Wasn't robbed. It just helped.
But, okay.
He finished it for him.
Yeah. But if he was not in there, then hopefully, I guess. Okay, I'll give you that one. I'm trying to get praise, but all right, fair enough. But yeah, I mean, he's everything you want. He loves the club. The fans love him. He scores goals. Yes, it's a big price tag. I mean, let's talk about that. I mean, the amount of fluctuation of fees that were not just throughout the window, but on that deadline day itself. Big money, but probably worth it long term.
Yeah, totally worth it. Already proven that he's worth it with the amount of goals he scored, with the amount of games he's played. Just walked right in and started scoring goals, and his work rate is second to none. Like the pressure he's putting on defences is incredible, and he actually looks a lot better player this season than he already did last season. But then again, you are playing at a lower level, so naturally you'd expect to see higher level performances. But it just makes me think that maybe that pre-season at Fulham, around so much Premier League talent and under somebody like Marco Silva has probably done him a bit of good, and got him into some really good shape. And, since he's come in, he's just done exactly what you'd expect a £15 million striker to do. So
how many does he score to come the end of the season?
I'm going to say about 17.
17.
I'm going to say 17.
He came half the season, didn't he? Did he have half the season last year?
He scored
15,
13.
was it? 13.
I think 13, yeah. 13.
Yeah. So surely he gets more if he's getting the whole season.
Yeah, I think.
Or do you think it'll be split between the rest of the squad? Is that why?
I think that's the way our squad's going. I think there's going to be a lot of goals shared across the entire squad this season, and champions need that. Like you know the amount of you look at Alfie May. Every squad he's ever been in, pre-blue.
What's happened with Alfie? Is he just he's not injured? He can play.
No. It started with a supposed illness before the Rotherham game, which put Dykes in. But then you see Dykes start at the weekend again, and it makes you think, okay, was there an illness, or did we just want to try that Dykes Stansfield partnership, which I totally understand because you the big man, little man kind of thing. Yeah, the typical football, go-to, if you will. But for me, Lyndon Dykes is really, his work rate's phenomenal. And his hold-up play is brilliant. But his finishing, don't get me wrong, not had a mass amount of chances. But when he has, probably should have done better with
he should have done the one a bit better against Peterborough, to be fair, didn't he?
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, it's still a hard header, but you've got the whole goal to aim at.
Yeah.
And it's rich coming from me because I probably wouldn't have done any better. I don't think either of us would have done any better. So, but at the end of the day, he's paid, however many figures a week to score goals like that he probably tucks away in training quite comfortably. So, yeah. Especially when his role is more of a hold-up target man, if you will. I'm sure his role is a lot more advanced and deeper than that. So don't crucify me for just calling him an out-and-out target man. But I see the comments. I can feel them coming. But no, Lyndon Dykes, I feel like there's still so much more for him to offer. But right now, I just prefer May and Stansfield, and that's maybe because of my little man crush on Alfie May and just being sad that he was booted out of the squad. And I still, as much as the Stansfield signing and hype is awesome and great, and I loved it, really buzzing, really happy, it got to me a little bit because I don't feel like we really, really needed him. Granted, now I see it as maybe we did, because that added quality is already added to the squad. It's just made us so much better. But I still think, we get promotion this season without him. But obviously, like I said earlier, we're building for the future. So I will shut my mouth and accept that Alfie May, age-wise, is actually getting on a bit, to be fair, but he's still a brilliant striker at this level. And I just hope he isn't frozen out. Not frozen out, but, a regular bench player now, because I feel like he deserves to be starting, particularly after his early season form.
Absolutely, I'd play top if you can and try and make it work, especially when you got both the calibre of Alfie May and Jay Stansfield. And I predicted actually Stansfield to sign for the club, not just saying. I just thought it would happen. I know you said that it wasn't necessarily needed, but I think it's a sign of the future. And again, if I'm not biting myself in the ass come the end of the season and we do get promoted, it's a sign of the championship. I think that is the caliber of a player that we've got here. We were competing with other championship clubs to get Jay Stansfield. Even Ipswich, I wanted him at one point before they could get a striker in. So it shows really the caliber of player we really have, and you've got to utilise it. But I do agree, Alfie May is Alfie May. Like, he scores goals. You need to make it work. I'm sure it will. I'm sure it will find a way to work. But hopefully it just guarantees then that key ticket to get out of the league by having two not world class. I didn't say world class strikers, but two class strikers for that division, especially. So yeah, we'll have to see. But speaking of star players as well, we have to give praise to our Rolls Royce and Bentley in midfield, Pak Sung Ho and Smoky Iwata. I mean, first on Pak, he's got his call up to the South Korean international squad, which is brilliant. I think if we get players, especially at League One, called up to the international squad, it's great for them. But if I'm playing the caveat, League One play through international fixtures. They're not like the Championship or Premier League. So if a lot of our players do get called up, is that going to be maybe a bit of a mishap? Maybe come towards the later end of the season.
No, I think when we play Barnsley, our midfield will get found out and proven that it's clearly not the best midfield in the league, and we'll get shat all over by the Dykes, and the Hake and Iwata will get totally exposed, and we'll need to buy new midfielders come the Championship next season. No, of course, I think our midfield is a million levels above every single other midfield in League One, and I look at that Barnsley midfield and there's not even anybody notable. Literally nobody notable. I don't think there's anybody notable in the Barnsley squad. You look at the Barnsley squad, Mark Roberts is one of their biggest names. Mark Roberts is one of Barnsley's biggest names. So, yeah, I fully expect and understand that Hake and Iwata are going to literally be easily the best midfield in the league, especially when you got Mark Leonard on the bench. Like, it's just not fair. It's just not fair. It's not fair. And I know a lot of people are going to feel that way when they play against us, but it is just quite that simple. And I think we quite comfortably, if you compared our current midfield to what the Championship has, I think it easily makes the top 10 and Championship midfield partnerships, if not maybe top 6. In all honesty, maybe that's ambitious, but that's just how good we're talking. Pake was already showing last season when we were in the Championship that he's got what it takes to be competing at the level. If not, if he was in a better team, probably be playing at a higher level. So, yeah, I think there's not much debate really when it comes to midfield, and Iwata is slowly becoming my favourite player. Just because he's so exciting and just so easy to watch on the eye, and he's just everywhere. The bloke is just everywhere, and for me, he's been a more crucial signing than Jay Stansfield. I actually think Iwata is the signing of the season. I don't think anybody really comes close to Iwata's importance. Maybe Alex Cochrane, who's also for me been outstanding this season.
That cross, that cross,
naughty. But yeah, no, I think Iwata is going to prove to be one of the most important parts of that jigsaw this season. But at least we've got plenty of other pieces to fit the jigsaw if he's ever injured. Same for Pake, really, just endless options.
I mean, the League One player of the season that Gab predicted, Mark Leonard, sits on the bench. I mean, that just says it all.
That does say it all, and I feel really bad about that because Mark Leonard does look like a tidy player. But if you're going off performances so far this season, I'd say Paik offered a little bit more than
Oh,
Mark Leonard.
totally. Yeah.
But Mark Leonard's still very young. I think he's only like 22, something like that, maybe 23. Whereas Paik and Iwata are both 27, I think. Maybe one of them's 28, but they're in the prime ages. So it's like I said with Peacock Farrell earlier. It's why I'd probably prefer Allsop. I feel like you use the players now that are in their prime and to your availability and are probably going to perform at a higher level and more experienced, calmer heads, if you will. I think that's why Mark Leonard won't be I'm sure he won't be happy that he's on the bench, but I think he'll understand that there is a much, much bigger picture at Birmingham City this season, and the future is far beyond League One for Mark Leonard at this football club. Because there will come a time where he will be called upon and he will become a starter. Because I have no doubt in my mind that when we do get to the Premier League one day, Mark Leonard will be in that Birmingham City team. So, yeah, I think it's harsh right now, but it's hard to compete with what we've got there.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. So, with that, let's move on then to the preview of the Terriers, Huddersfield Town, as of recording, to face Huddersfield tomorrow night. We do love a late night game. It's always great, especially at St Anne's. So our so-called title rivals are currently 10th in the league, Michael Duff. Yeah, exactly. So here's one actually, a fun fact for all you Fats fans. The referee tomorrow is a referee called Ben Toda. He's never refereed a Blues game before. So who knows how that's going to go with EFL referees this season? They're all the same.
With that confidence.
Let's have your general thoughts then on the fixture going into the game. Obviously, Huddersfield started the season slightly different. Bearing in mind, we're still only we will be in October. Do you know what I mean? Is it one of them? Will they bounce back?
I don't. Huddersfield have had a real tough run of form recently, and it'd be very, very bluesy to be the team that turns around somebody's form, because we've notoriously, and I mean seriously, notoriously been good at giving teams the lift they need to turn around their form. But this is not that Blues. This is not that Blues. Not this season anyway. So I've just got a feeling we're not going to win the game, but I don't think we're going to lose. I actually think it's going to be a really, really, really boring 0-0 game. And I think it's going to make me miserable on a Tuesday night. So, yeah, maybe not boring, but I've just got a 0-0 feeling about this game. And I think Huddersfield will probably be the happier two with taking a point. They'll be happy to stop the rot, and they'll be happy to keep a clean sheet against a blue side that's scored in every game, every league game this season. So, it's... that's the way I can see it going, and I think that's what they'll hold on for. But I love hearing other fans of other clubs talk about a Michael Duff side, on how his sides always love going 1 or 2 goals up early on in a game and they're just sitting on it for the rest of the game and conceding 3 or 4, a bit like Peterborough did really. So you never know, that could happen. I don't think Huddersfield have quite taken to Michael Duff's style of football yet. They say they're trying to play nice football, but it doesn't really look like nice football. And yeah, I'm sure they'll just say, we've not spent as much as you, but I don't care. But yeah, I just think they're struggling to adapt, and Huddersfield naturally have always been a club that play a good brand of football. It's weird that Michael Duff keeps going to teams like this, because he had the same issue at Swansea, a team that has notoriously been known for playing a nice style of football.
Correct,
because
yeah.
it's the Swansea way, and it hasn't worked out. So, when he's at clubs like Barnsley or places like that, where was he before Barnsley? There was another team. I want to say Cheltenham.
Was Cheltenham.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Cheltenham. So, you can kind of understand with clubs like that, playing a certain way and being a bit ugly, but No, I'm just not. I'm not sold on Michael Duff and Huddersfield yet. And right now, they keep going the way they are. I'm not sure he's going to be in a job for much longer because
No, because
there's expectation.
Exactly, yeah. League One is Huddersfield Town to me aren't a League One club. I know they fight the yo-yo, but they are a Championship club. Near the bottom, don't get me wrong, they normally were with us rotting. They're at the bottom of the league. But yeah, I don't think they deserve to be in League One. But unfortunately, Blues have come along. We put a final to take over in, so sod it won't be their year. But the lads working behind the scenes actually are shaking their heads at that prediction. They're saying 6-0 Blues.
I go, wow. That is ballsy. Like, I can understand the confidence, but 6-0 Blues. I mean, fair play. Fair play. Why not?
Well, in all competitions, actually,
so.
between the two, 44 losses, 36 draws, 41 wins. So it's kind of even-ish, really, between the two.
Yeah.
But then again, it's completely different. This is a completely different era of Blues, and Huddersfield are probably in their transition as well. So who knows? We'll see. But you're going, a draw, is it?
0-0.
0-0 draw. Box standard, Tuesday night, under the lights, St Andrews, 0-0 draw. I'm going to go 3-1 Blues. I think we'll get the job done. I think we'll get it comfortably. We might concede again first because we like doing that. But yeah, I just think the whole era is just cemented with the fan base. And I think if you have the St Andrews crowd rocking. Now, Knighthead very much...
Actually, can I change my prediction?
No! You've just said it now.
I'm changing it. Sorry.
You can't go win.
I'm pressing the buzzer. I am going win because I've just had this vision in my head of, we have one of those weird games where the opposition win the toss and they decide to switch sides and we don't kick towards the tilt win in the second half.
Right. And then,
right, you see where I'm going with this?
Yeah,
and then Alfie May comes off the bench and I'm talking like 92nd minute winner. And just literally runs straight to the Huddersfield fans and just raises his arms. Look at what you could have had. And
my God, yeah.
That's my vision. I've seen the vision. I want the vision. And if I don't get the vision, I'd be bitterly disappointed, in all honesty.
You just hit the nail on the head.
Scores. That's it. That's all I care about.
You hit the nail on the head there. It just an Adebayor and just runs to the other side of the side of the ground. Brilliant. Well, 50 million Blues, £50 million Blues, they might get the last laugh. So we'll have to see because a lot of Huddersfield fans have been criticised of Blues suspending. They're also very displeased with us nabbing Alfie May. And then also the actual CEO, Jake. And then we're benching him. Just to take the piss. We'll probably not even play it tomorrow just to take the piss. But then, like you said, bring him on and then he scores. Even Jake Edwards, the Huddersfield CEO, came out publicly and said they weren't going to pay the wages of a player that weren't worth it. Oh, well, we'll take it because we can. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens come tomorrow. But I think, 3-1, I think quite comfortable. I think with the new era of Blues and Knighthead made a mistake very much at the start of doing high ticket prices. As soon as they lower those ticket prices and we get sellouts, St Andrews is a fortress when you get a sellout. It's so loud. Don't get me wrong. A lot of fans will criticise with Blues being quiet and blah, blah, blah. And only when they score a goal, then it becomes loud and stuff. But when it does, it is like without trying to be too big-headed, it is like those games like Liverpool at Anfield where it can just switch. If it's like it becomes that ground where the atmosphere then just comes in and it then rocks the team to then really play and chase the game to win. And I think that really helped against Peterborough.
I think the biggest issue Blues have had for years is the fact that we just had no chance. Like it was just keep right on every 5 minutes. If not sooner.
50 million down the drain.
Jay Stansfield scores again. We've actually got a few chances this season. Personal favourite. I do love the Chris Davies chant. That one rings through my head on the regular. I've also loved a couple of the Alfie May chants this year. And just all of them. All of them are great. All of them are great. I love it. And long may it continue. And we make more chants. Fingers crossed. So I think that having that bit of creativity back in the stands is certainly aiding. Put it that way, it's aiding the atmospheres.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's also a very good time to end the pod as well. Tom, it's been excellent having you on as always. And like you said, if you guys enjoy the pod, do make sure to leave a like, leave a comment as well on your thoughts. And make sure you're ahead of all of our social media channels as well, so you see all of our great content that we do. We even did a really cool TikTok behind the scenes videos as well. Do check that out. If you do really enjoy it, do let us know. We'll keep that coming as well. We're just trying to influence and make content for you guys and produce that really that sells the fan base and really live the dream of this season. I mean, if you don't live the dream, I mean, look at Portsmouth. I was speaking to Portsmouth fans last year. They absolutely loved last season. They took advantage of it. So we'll do that this season. Who knows what the future will be, but we'll keep right on as always. And do make sure you do keep the love on our podcast. We'll keep continuing to do them. If you also want to join me and Tom and chat blues, feel free. Give us a message if you want. Give us some comments. Give us some thoughts and feedback as well. We always do appreciate that. But yeah, thank you all for tuning in, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time. As always, keep right on.